guys, Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and welcome back to another experiment with me. So today we're going to be working with liquid clay again, but I'm also going to be using foil. So in the last experiment we did, we worked with liquid clay to make kind of a fluid art painting, and if you saw the leftover tutorial that came after that, we could see that the liquid clay had taken on some of the texture in the on the clay, and so I want to see how far we can push that texture. So I'm going to be taking some some foil, just regular old kitchen foil, and what we're going to be doing is I'm going to scruncle that up properly, and then we're going to carefully unravel that while maintaining that texture that we achieved. And this is just regular metal foil that you can get in kitchen supplies, which is what's nice about this tutorial. You don't need anything too special. Okay. Then I'm going to very carefully lay that flat. You can use the shiny side or the not shiny side, it's completely up to you. I'm going to use the shiny side because I like shiny. And then we're actually going to be applying the liquid clay directly to the foil, and then I'm going to be using white polymer clay, and I'll be placing that down on top. So I'm going to be using K2 liquid clay because that's the liquid clay that I generally always use. You can give this a try with other liquid clay, see if it works, but I am going to be using K2 liquid clay. Now before I start, I'm going to be using gold, black, translucent, and white. Okay, so I'm going to start with the gold, and no particular reason for that, I just decided to start with the gold. And I'm going to drizzle that over the surface. And this is almost going to look like a modern art painting, I guess, but we'll see if it can maintain the texture. I'm curious to see what that's going to do. And this is going to have to be left for a good number of hours. I'm going to be leaving this when we're done for 48 hours before seeing if it actually worked or not. So I don't think this is for the impatient. So just keep that in mind before you try this. If you are interested in trying, we're going to have to, if we want to keep the texture, we're going to have to leave it for a fair amount of time. Then I'm going to bring over the white, and I'm just drizzling it around so that it creates this interesting kind of scribbly pattern. And of course you could use any colours you want, you don't have to use the colours that I am using, but I'm going for these colours. And I'm going to put on a bit more of the white than the other colours. And then lastly we're going to be working with the translucent. Now I want to actually add a little something to the translucent, so I'm going to pop this to the side, quickly clean this up, and bring over the translucent. And this is optional again, and you can also use any colour you want. But I'm just going to put a fair amount of translucent on there, like so. And I'm actually going to bring over some silver metal leaf, just like so. And whoops, of course I missed the liquid clay completely. Just dump that there. And bring a little more of that liquid clay over. Drizzle that over the top, like so. And I'll just use a metal tool to mix that metal leaf into the liquid clay. And now this is something that you could use separately from this experiment if you want metal leaf in your liquid clay, but by all means go ahead and do it. It's going to look very interesting. So you could experiment with this. Maybe I'll do that in the future, but I want to add this to my piece. So let me bring this guy over, actually onto the side, there we go. And I'm just going to use that tool, and I'm going to blob this on at random, because we're going to not really be able to drizzle it. So just pop that on. You can use multiple metal leaves. You could make a silver one and a gold one if you wanted to. Play around, have some fun. This is supposed to be an experiment day. Okay, and then lastly I'll just grab the translucent liquid clay as it is and just give a generous drizzle to fill out our texture. Okay, pop that to the side, bring over your clay of choice. You can use any colour you want, just be aware that it's not going to be super visible, I would assume, but it is going to be visible to a degree, so don't use a colour that you don't like. And I'm applying a generous amount of liquid clay, and then I'm going to smooth that over the surface. And this is just so that we don't get any, or all of what I'm saying right now is assuming, because I've never tried this before. So I'm assuming that by putting the liquid clay here like this, it's going to avoid air pockets when I pick it up later on. So that's why I'm applying the liquid clay. Everything that I'm saying right now, up until when I pick it up, I am completely assuming, so I'm just walking you through my thought process. And this is the fun of an experiment day, because I have no clue how it's going to turn out. But that's all the fun of it. Then I will pick this up, bring this over, and don't flip this onto your clay, flip your clay onto it. Like so. I've got a rag off to the side here where I'm drying it so that I don't end up with too much liquid clay. Gently press that down. I'm not pressing it down too much. Just enough that it should stick it a bit. And then I'm going to bring over a piece of paper because I want to be able to move this, because I don't want this stuck on my workstation, because I won't be able to record anything else otherwise. So I'll take that, like so, flip it, gently press down that aluminum foil around the piece because I don't want the liquid clay flowing all over the place. Again, all of this done under assumption. And I'll just give it a final press just to make sure that nothing's too high up from the clay while still maintaining that texture. And then I'm going to put that to the side for 48 hours at minimum, because what I want the liquid clay to do is harden, essentially. Well, not harden, but I want it to absorb into the base clay to a large degree, so that when we peel this up, hopefully the idea is that it will maintain the texture to a large degree, and it will have the look of liquid, but liquid that has gotten a texture to it. So we'll see what happens. I have a general idea of what I think it's going to look like, but again, I'm not sure. I have never done this before. This is an experiment. I'm quite excited to see how it turns out. So let's hope I'm patient enough to leave it for 48 hours, because if you've been watching the channel a while, you know that I'm not patient at all. So I'm going to pop this away and try to forget about it for 2 days, and then we will see how it looks. Okay, so it's been about 48 hours, maybe a little longer than that. So now we're going to see how this turned out. So I can feel that it's still a bit squishy under there, so I don't expect that it's completely set, but we'll see. So, yeah. Going to pop this down onto the tile and gently press that down, and then we're going to lift and see how this looks. You can see that a lot is still left on the foil, but I do actually like how that looks. It has not completely set. I can see around the edges it has set a bit, and in the areas where you have less liquid clay it's set, but mainly in the centre here where we've got a lot still hanging about, it hasn't quite set there. So let me just use this to point it out. So in these areas where we just kind of laid down the translucent, that has completely set, but in these softer areas you can see here that's still very wet. And over here you can see this has set quite a bit, but in general it's still quite wet, but it's set enough to kind of capture the pattern. I am quite happy with how that looks. So now I'm just going to cut out a pendant and we'll see how that looks once it's baked. Okay, and I've just got this circle donut here. And let's see, whereabouts do I want to cut? I think I'm going to cut about there, maybe? No, I like here better. Pop that down. Okay, and I'm just going to press down in the middle. And then, because it hasn't been stuck down properly onto the tile, I am going to give the cutter a little twist just to make sure that it doesn't stick. And you can see that we did get a little bit of liquid clay around the edges, so make sure to clean that. And I'm just going to lift that, and you can of course cut out more if you wanted to. I'm going to just remove that piece, and then I'm going to bake that for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature, and we'll see how. Okay, and here it is out of the oven, and you can see there that the translucent has cleared up nicely, and because we were using Kato liquid clay, it's got this really nice shine to it. If you want to give it an even shinier look, you can finish it off with after it's been baked with a heat gun, and that will give it an even glossier finish. In regards to how I feel about it, I made some earrings as well. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I've got this kind of love-hate relationship with it where I really like it, but I really don't at the same time. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I think I would be a lot more enthused by it if I had gone with kind of a green, blue, purple palette with the silver leaf, just because it really reminds me of water. I'm not sure how well the camera's picking up the texture there, but you can feel the texture. It really is quite interesting. So I am going to explore this technique again in the future, but I think I'm going to use a different colour palette next time, just because it didn't turn out how I thought it would when I initially created it. But I think it is quite interesting. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about it. Also, in regards to the liquid clay that was left on the foil, I popped that in the oven as well and then peeled it off. And now I've got these little liquid clay pieces, and I'm not going to do anything with them yet, but I might use them in a leftover tutorial in the future. So if you do see that in the future, that's how they were made. Just pop the foil into the oven and peel it straight off. It's really easy to get off. But yeah, that's basically it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up and maybe press the subscribe button if you wish to see more videos like this one. And if you have anything that you would like to add, comment, let me know how you thought it turned out. Please do leave a comment. I read each and every single one, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you would like to support the channel further, please do consider clicking the join button or even becoming a patron. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you that does that. It helps keep this channel running. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.